Donald Trump has critically gained a huge increase in current election polls across the United States. Keep watching, as I'm thrilled to share the numbers with you. Let's first take a look at the states where each candidate seems to be holding a strong lead. Donald Trump has established a solid base in numerous states, including Maine's 2nd District, West Virginia, Ohio, and Indiana. We should also include his strong support from Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, both North and South Dakota. He also holds well in Nebraska's at-large and the 1st and 3rd districts, Kansas, Oklahoma, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, and Alaska. Altogether, these areas provide Trump with a substantial 149 Electoral College votes, edging him closer to the pivotal 270 needed to win the presidency. Kamala Harris isn't far behind, with firm control over states like Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. These regions give her a strong starting total of 176 electoral votes, also aiming for the crucial 270 to secure victory. Now that we've identified the key strongholds, let's turn our attention to the battleground states and analyze the latest polling data to get a clearer picture of who might come out on top in the 2024 election. Let's start with Nevada, often referred to as Scorpion Country due to its significant electoral influence. According to the latest 538 data, Trump is slightly ahead of Harris with a narrow 2-point lead, polling at 45% to Harris's 43%, while Kennedy captures 5%. In comparison, a previous poll had Trump leading Biden by 3 points. This slim lead over Harris suggests that Nevada could lean red for Trump in this election cycle. Next, we head over to Arizona, a state known for its changing electoral landscape shaped by its diverse population. Trump currently has a 3-point lead over Harris, polling at 46% to her 43%, with Kennedy again at 4%. This difference is notably smaller than the 8-point lead Trump had over Harris before Biden exited the race, indicating that Arizona might see a tough and closely fought battle. Finally, we look at New Mexico. Although there are no direct polls comparing Trump to Harris at this moment, the state's voting history and recent trends hint at a potential advantage for Harris. Biden won New Mexico by more than 10% in the previous election, and the latest polls show him just barely leading Trump by 1 point. As we keep an eye on these developments, New Mexico stands out as a key state that could lean towards Harris as more data becomes available. In a surprising turn of events in Minnesota, Kamala Harris has surged ahead of Donald Trump by an impressive 10-point margin in the latest polls. This unexpected development comes after Trump had previously led Joe Biden by a narrow 1-point margin in their last contest. Notably, even Biden, who has had strong support in the past, never managed to secure such a significant lead over Trump in Minnesota. This dramatic shift indicates that the state may be strongly leaning towards Harris in the upcoming elections. The electoral landscape in Wisconsin remains incredibly tight, with both Harris and Trump locked in a dead heat at 48% each. This fierce competition reflects previous races, where Biden and Trump were also tied, though at slightly lower percentages due to the presence of a third candidate who split the vote. As things stand, Trump holds a slight 2.3% lead according to the latest averages, highlighting Wisconsin as a highly contested battleground. Both Harris and Trump find themselves in critical positions, needing to win over undecided voters to gain an edge in this crucial state that now seems to lean slightly towards Trump. In Michigan, the contest is just as competitive. Trump currently holds a 3-point lead over Harris, with 44% of the vote compared to her 41%, while a third-party candidate, Kennedy, claims 7% of the vote. However, when third-party candidates are excluded from the equation, Harris and Trump are evenly matched at 46% each. Should Kennedy decide to withdraw from the race and endorse another candidate, the electoral dynamics could shift significantly, impacting Michigan and other key battleground states. The political world is keenly watching Kennedy's next moves as they could have major strategic consequences. Maine presents a less clear picture due to the absence of specific polling data directly comparing Harris to Trump. However, based on historical trends where Biden previously led by 8% in Maine's 2nd District and considering the state's generally Democratic-leaning nature, it's likely that Harris could maintain a similar advantage. Despite this, the changing national sentiment suggests that competition in Maine might be tighter than in previous elections. Nebraska's 2nd District also lacks detailed polling for a direct comparison between Harris and Trump. Historically, this district has leaned Democratic in recent elections, suggesting that Harris might have the upper hand if this pattern continues. The district's recent voting history indicates that Harris could be favored here, consistent with its Democratic leanings. A significant development has emerged in New Hampshire, where Harris has overtaken Trump, leading by 6 points with 50% to Trump's 44%, and Kennedy trailing behind at 3%. This marks a considerable shift and positions New Hampshire as a state that may be leaning towards Harris, reflecting a possible shift in the political climate. In New Jersey, the situation is intriguing, with no direct polling yet available for a Harris versus Trump matchup. While Biden won New Jersey by a significant margin in the last election, recent polls show Trump with a slight 1-point lead, suggesting a more competitive race in what has traditionally been a Democratic stronghold. This evolving political landscape indicates that even states long considered safe for Democrats might be more contested than anticipated. New York presents a similar scenario. Although Biden and Harris once enjoyed a comfortable lead, recent polls show that the gap is closing. This development adds complexity to the electoral map, emphasizing that the race may be more open and competitive than initially thought. The increasing unpredictability of voter behavior across these key states heightens the stakes for both campaigns as they adapt to shifting sentiments and strive to secure victory in the upcoming elections. Are you already part of our subscriber family, or are you still among the vast majority who haven't joined yet? With only 6 states left to determine the outcome, the race for the presidency is heating up. Donald Trump currently holds a slight lead over Kamala Harris with 205 electoral votes to her 199. As the last ballots are being counted, the tension is palpable, and everyone is focused on these crucial battlegrounds to see who will emerge victorious. In Pennsylvania, the competition is especially fierce. Recent polling reveals an extremely narrow gap between Trump and Harris. One poll even shows them tied at 44% each, while another gives Harris a slim advantage of just 1 percentage point. This marks a significant improvement for Harris compared to Biden's previous performance in the state, where Trump had a comfortable 7-point lead. This slight shift in favor of Harris could turn Pennsylvania blue, a critical move in the overall electoral map. Virginia, a state with a storied history in American politics, is proving to be a tough challenge for Harris. The latest polls show Trump ahead by 4 percentage points with a 45% to 41% lead over Harris, while Kennedy trails at 5%. Trump's steady lead suggests that Virginia might be leaning toward the Republican side, signaling a potential stronghold for the incumbent. North Carolina is emerging as a pivotal battleground in this election. Trump is currently leading Harris by 3 percentage points, with the figures standing at 46% to 43%, while Kennedy lags behind at 4%. This close race echoes the previous election cycle, indicating a robust Republican base but also leaving an opening for Harris to make gains. To secure North Carolina, Harris will need to rally her supporters and attract undecided voters in this traditionally conservative state. In Georgia, Trump maintains a challenging but not unbeatable lead, outpacing Harris by 5 percentage points, 47% to 42%, with Kennedy garnering 3% of the vote. Georgia is becoming increasingly competitive, and some analysts believe Harris might exceed Biden's previous efforts in the state. The Democratic campaign is focusing on extensive voter outreach and targeting the undecided electorate, which could potentially shift the balance in this key state. Florida, known for its importance in elections, sees Trump holding a significant 8-point lead over Harris, with polling numbers at 47% to 39%, while Kennedy captures 5% of the vote. This substantial gap presents a formidable challenge for Harris, but it also offers an opportunity for her campaign to close the distance by appealing to Florida's diverse voters. In the final stretch, Harris is expected to intensify her efforts addressing key issues that resonate with Florida's electorate to sway the outcome. Texas, however, presents the most formidable obstacle for Harris as she trails Trump by a substantial 13 percentage points. The only poll conducted earlier this year shows Trump at 52% and Harris at 39%. With Texas holding a large number of electoral votes and its conservative tendencies, Harris faces an uphill battle. To make any inroads in this critical state, her campaign will need to deploy a robust strategy and significantly outperform her current standing. As the election nears, both candidates are ramping up their efforts to win over voters in these decisive states. The strategies they employ in the remaining days will be crucial in determining the direction of American leadership for the next 4 years. After the final count of votes from all states, it seems that Donald Trump holds a projected advantage in the presidential race, having secured 320 electoral votes compared to Kamala Harris's 218. This early indication positions Trump as the likely victor of the 2024 presidential election. Despite the outcome, the relatively small gap between Trump and Harris underscores how competitive this election turned out to be, challenging many earlier predictions and highlighting the closeness of the race. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. What factors do you think led to these election results? How might this influence future political strategies? Make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth discussions and breakdowns of current political events. I'm excited to see your comments and hear your views on these developments. Stay tuned for more updates and detailed explorations of the complexities of political campaigns and elections.